Do they?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And their phones go off all the
Oh,
time.
yeah, won't happen in my hobbies.
I give them 5 minutes because up there it buzzing. They just lose track of time. Like they should have a wee call antenna system.
I know, he usually does, but he's done this for a couple of years and he's basically...
Because that's my job next week.
He's basically... forgot about it.
Yeah.
Go on ahead.
Come on.
Go on ahead.
Right.
This is probably the smallest room I've ever smoked.
That's more like the part of the second.
No, you wouldn't need microphones. You can work with a microphone probably with 50 or 80 people, and after that you really sort of struggle. Not struggle, but just go ahead. Give it a
He's making it awkward, isn't it?
Steve's lost time with it.
Still a few seats there. Sure it is. Actually, think that
Why is it?
I don't even start using it. I know.
What's that laptop or something?
Sometimes it stops people letting people in, once the talk starts, because some people walk in on them and it really affects their state of flow and stuff. So the talk, I think it's probably going to be about 45 minutes. If I say anything that doesn't make sense or you want clarification or any questions, just stick your hand up right away, because I've heard a lot of speakers say, let's get to the end, we'll ask your questions, and the questions never get answered. So we'll just start briefly. The name of the talk is called Thriving in a Toxic World. And how I've come up with that title is I've been writing a book for 10 years, and I originally was going to call the book How to Legally Murder Your Children Using Food. But as it evolved and as I went through it, I thought that the Thriving in a Toxic World would be a much more appropriate topic. But I thought, and I started off writing a book about nutrition, but what I found was that when you start to dig deeper and deeper and deeper in that system, what you'll find is that our whole entire our whole entire food system, our governments, our hospitals, the pharmaceutical industry is all completely and totally rigged. So the way people eat food and they're highly addicted to foods, that is not by accident, that is specifically by design. We've got food scientists or criminals that basically manipulate the food to make it as highly addictive as they possibly can, so that you get stuck and get addicted to it and keep coming back for more and more and more. And every little bit of fizzle in your Coca-Cola or any of your drinks, every little crackle and snap and pop, every little sensation, every part of that oral sensation, every part of it's totally and completely controlled. And so when we eat these chemicals in our bodies, it switches off our natural body's ability to tell us when we're full. And so what we're doing now is we're eating incredible amounts of food, but there's virtually no nutrition in it. Go on ahead, there, right? There's only about 2 seats now. And so when we start to put these highly nutritionally deficient foods into your body, what happens to us is that we start eating and eating and eating, and we never feel full. So we're going through cycles where people will go out, they'll eat something, and 20 minutes later or an hour later they're hungry again. And for me personally, like I only eat usually once or twice a day, because I'm eating this amount of food that has this amount of nutrition, where most people are eating this amount of food that has this amount of nutrition. And so what you put into your body really, really does matter. And years ago, I used to eat food. The only criteria that mattered to me for eating food was how did it taste. I had no idea that the quality of the food really made any difference whatsoever. I used to use microwave ovens. I used to eat out of places like Kentucky Fried Chicken or McDonald's and stuff like that. McDonald's, from my perspective, is the food company from hell. The problem now is, is there anybody in here who are meat eaters? I do eat meat. You can put your hands up like you do. I won't be able to have that professionals. I'll be speaking at the Vegan Festival in a week or two. But if, just one thing, who here eats chicken? So, if I was going to eat a chicken, it would have to be an organically fed, free-range chicken. And one of the reasons why I want to point out chicken firstly is, the chicken years ago, it took 120 days for a chicken to reach maturity. Now they're doing it in 42 days. So how do they do that? Because they use growth promoters, antibiotics, steroids and hormones. And then what happens is you feed that to your children. And I remember going down to see, who's familiar with Roger Waters out of Pink Floyd? So, you're getting your age away here. So I went to see a concert where Roger Waters was playing in Dublin a few years ago, and he played that video, which is, we'll all know, another brick in the wall, like, hey teacher, leave those kids alone. And so that video was playing on stage, and there was, I don't know, is there maybe 20, 30, 40 girls and boys, all of the age of around 13 or 14. And that video was made in 1979. And one of the things that I noticed is that not one of the boys or the girls had any breasts. And now you're getting boys as young as 9 that have got bigger breasts than the girls. Because when you put in those growth promoters, the antibiotics, the steroids and the hormones, that's going all into your body. And then the other thing as well is, then if you go to somewhere like McDonald's and get your chicken McNuggets, not only are they using that chicken, but then they mechanically extract that stuff from the carcass, which ends up into a really gungy pink sludge. Then they add a chemical called dimethyl polysiloxane, which is an anti-foaming agent, which they use in silicone greases, breast implants and other things. And that stuff definitely doesn't belong in the human body. And so to me, when you put that stuff into your children or ourselves, we're just setting ourselves up for a life of disease, illness and food addictions. And you all may know somebody that maybe never smoked or never drank in their lives, and then they got cancer and died. I had an uncle, never smoked in his life, never drank in his life, went and he used to work outside every day on a farm, just doing stuff, digging holes and all that sort of stuff. And the man died of cancer. And people are going, well, how did he die of cancer? And this is the thing, you can be eating organic food, you can be going to the gym, you can be drinking pure clean water, and you could still end up with cancer. Because there's so many other factors that nobody even realizes that is affecting your health. The lights in these buildings, the blue lights, the LEDs, and the energy saving bulbs, they all significantly destroy our health. Those blue lights will burn the retinas out of your eyes, and we're going to end up with an epidemic of people now, when they get older, are going to be completely blind because we're looking at our screens. But so many of these things can be turned around, can be helped, because you can get blue light blocking technology on your computer for about $2 to $3. So if you have a Mac or a PC, you can go to a company called Iris.tech, and they will give you the blue blocking software for about, I think it's $2 or $3, and that's going to take away a massive amount of the glare. The other thing as well is, and I've been guilty of this too, who here has a microwave oven? Right, so when you have a microwave oven, how microwaves work is that they get the water molecules in the food and it rips that food apart at several million times per second. So when you eat that microwave food, not only are you increasing your risk of stomach cancer by 3-fold, but the other thing as well is that that process is still going on inside your stomach, and it completely and utterly obliterates the life force within that food. If you can imagine, say you eat a piece of organic celery, that stuff has been growing in the garden, say, for 6 months or 9 months. I have no idea how long it takes. But the sunshine, the rain and the soil and the nutrients have all made that grow. And then you've got this intelligence that is within the food. When you eat it, your body actually knows what to do with it. But when you microwave it, that completely obliterates all the information and all that intelligence within that food. So if you microwave your food and you eat it, what you're doing is you're basically poisoning your body. And then your body needs to get rid of this toxic waste. And there's people say, but I only use it to heat the food. That's what most people only use to heat it for. And the question I will ask every one of you is the price of convenience worth the price of your health? Because most people think, oh, but I don't have time. But if you do not make time for your health now, you most definitely, and I want to emphasize the word most definitely, are going to have to make time for illness and disease later on in your life. People now, that 1 in 2 people are getting cancer, and like I used to do lots of different things. I used to train sales teams how to do sales. I used to do marriage counselling. I used to do cure phobias and allergies and all that sort of stuff. And see, recently, I've been hit with a tidal wave of people that have got cancer. And who in here knows somebody that either in their family's got cancer, have got cancer, or somebody in a close friend or in family circles got cancer? And look around, like there's very few people aren't putting their hands up. And the problem is that our food system, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, and the soils that we grow our foods in are all contaminated. And every drop of drinking water on this planet has got plastic in it. And we're drinking out of plastic bottles, and plastic bottles contain chemicals like BPA, bisphenol A, and PVC. And those things wreak absolute havoc on your immune system and on your endocrine system. And the chemicals in those plastics make men much more feminine, and women end up with too much estrogen in their bodies and not enough progesterone. And the problem is that then that makes you very prone to ovarian cysts and breast lumps and stuff like that. And a lot of men now, when they go to the doctor and they don't have enough testosterone, it's not that they actually don't have enough testosterone. What has happened is that they've got too much of this synthetic manufactured estrogen from drinking out of plastics and all that sort of stuff. So it is important to make intelligent choices, and any of the things that I'm saying that I'm pointing out, there is also solutions to them, because for me to inform you about stuff and freak you out and then realise there's no way out, all you do is traumatise people. We can. And when you ask most people, how are you doing? And they'll say, I'm surviving. Surviving is the lowest standard a human can have. It's one step above death. And the average, there's only, how many people do you think make it out of 10,000 to 100 years of age? How many people out of 10,000 make it to 100 years of age in life? Any guesses?
10.
What?
100.
One person out of 10,000 makes it to 100 years of age. But if you look at any other species in life, whatever time it takes to reach maturity, they usually live 7 times what it takes to reach maturity. So by the law of just nature alone, we should all be able to live to we're 140. I personally want to live to 150, and I think it's incredibly easy and incredibly doable. And this is another minefield that people freak out about, and it's very controversial. But just from my personal perspective, I wouldn't vaccinate anybody under any circumstances for any reason, because they'll tell you, oh, we'll need to do this, and it'll help this, and it'll do that. Those vaccines are full of thimerosal, which is mercury, which you know is really powerful. Heavy metals in your brain are really going to promote you getting Alzheimer's and dementia and all these horrible other illnesses. Another thing that people have, who here has silver fillings or mercury fillings in their teeth? They are really horribly nasty and toxic, and I had a mouth completely full of them. I had, I don't know, probably 12 of them. And when I was a child, I remember going to the dentist, and every time you went, he just drilled your teeth and he filled your teeth. And I have 3 younger sisters. One of them was terrified of the dentist, and she wouldn't go. And she's the only one that's really got almost perfect teeth, and the rest of our teeth are destroyed. And to get the mercury out of your mouth is incredibly important, and especially how it's done. Most dentists now, because they know it's very profitable, will drill it out of your mouth and leach and mobilize massive amounts of mercury toxicity in your bloodstream. So there's a video on YouTube called Smoking Teeth. It's only 8 minutes long, and I really urge you to go and look at that video, and once you look at it, you'll see just how toxic mercury is and how important it is to get it out of your body incredibly safely, because if they don't use a rubber dam and they don't extract all of the vapors and they don't extract all of the metal and all of the water, that's going into your bloodstream. And I mean, people will tell you can't get heavy metals out of your body or out of your brain. You can, but it takes about 10 years to get mercury out normally. But I mean, if anybody's suffering from mercury toxicity or heavy metal toxicity, there's ways that you can get this out really, really easy. You want to ask a question now?
Who would be the best dentist you advise to go to?
There's only two people that I would trust in Northern Ireland, and one of them is a guy called Mark Conroy from Mount to say Forrestside. If you want details, I can give them to you. And there's another girl called Dr. Anne Gooding, and she's a holistic dentist. I know the only two people that I would trust that could actually take it out, because some of the dentists think that you want it done cosmetically, and so what they do is they drill out a bit of the mercury and then they fill over it and trap the mercury in, and then your teeth look nice and white, but you've still got the poisons leaching into your bloodstream. And your teeth have got almost like hundreds of miles, these wee vegetables, like wee canals and pathways. And I did get a root canal done many years ago, and under no circumstances would I ever get a root canal done again. And some statistics like I think something like 90% or 95% of women that have breast cancer have a root canal on the same side that they have the breast cancer. So I think they're incredibly toxic, and I mean there's lots of research out there, but again, you need to go to credible sites that are out there that are run to truly inform you, because a lot of them are out there that completely confuse you and keep you in the dark. Because, go ahead.
No, I was diagnosed with cancer, but before that, as a preliminary,
Mm-hmm.
I went for thermal imaging with a German, and he picked up my teeth and could show me the path of the leaching going down into my body. So that was the spur to me to get them done.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did get a root canal done probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I didn't have this information back then. The other thing as well is probably the greatest hypnotist that ever lived was a guy called Milton Erickson, and he said that patients are patients because of a lack of rapport with their unconscious minds. And what that really means is that your body is communicating with you every minute of every day. It's giving you the perfect feedback to let you know. It's like when anybody started smoking, I mean, you got the perfect feedback of how good it was for your body, but people push through it or work through it and then end up getting addicted to nicotine. But you're getting this perfect feedback each and every moment of every day. So I never get headaches, I never break down, I never get injured. When I say never get injured, I could injure myself, say, doing something physical occasionally. But so a headache, I mean, anybody in here get headaches? Headaches are this beautiful, and I want to emphasize the word beautiful, communication from your unconscious mind. They are the feedback mechanism to let you know that there's something wrong. Now, we've been completely hypnotized and brainwashed to shoot the messenger and think that the problem's solved. That's like you driving down the road in your car and the oil light comes on to tell you you're low oil, and you take a bulb out and go, that's it sorted out. But that's actually what's happening. And so, how long did you wait before you shot the messenger? Because the thing is that your unconscious mind is communicating with you thousands upon thousands of times every day. So when you're sitting there, you could feel that you might be slightly dehydrated, but do you go and drink the coffee anywhere, or do you go anyway, or do you go and drink the fizzy drinks, or do you drink the Red Bull, or whatever it is you drink? And so the problem is that we then basically destroy our receptors that give us that feedback, and we become so desensitized that we actually can't feel the feedback or the communication from our unconscious. But for me, when I went to the dentist, and I had all of those fillings done, and I had the root canal. So just in case some of you aren't aware of what a root canal is, they basically drill the top of your tooth, they drill down about this much right into the canal and take out the nerve, and then they pack it full of the material that they're going to use, either the mercury or the white composite that they use. So I was able to go and have all of that treatment done without any anaesthetic whatsoever. And to me, how can I do that? Well, I learned how to do it by accident, but I could now go to the dentist and I can have any treatment and I will feel no pain. But yet, if he touched my gum with a feather, I could tell him that he was touching my gum with a feather. And so, why am I able to do that and other people can't? Because I have incredible rapport with my unconscious mind. Most people, when they get pain, they shoot the messenger. But when your unconscious knows that you have understood the positive intention of the feedback, plus you take steps to remedy it, then your unconscious no longer needs to generate that communication, and therefore it can switch off the pain because it knows that you're not an idiot and it can trust you to sort it out. And the pain is just this perfect feedback mechanism. And I'll give you a short story about how another way I figured this out many years ago was I was in Cork, and it was a time probably for more than 12 years ago when I drank alcohol. And you have probably all had this experience where you can drink a certain amount of alcohol, but if you drink that extra 1 pint, it does 90% of the damage. So my threshold probably back then would have been about 5 pints of Guinness, and I would have felt like not great the next day, but I could have functioned. If I took 6 pints of Guinness, I would have been absolutely wiped out, and I would have been violently ill and felt nauseous the entire day. I just would have lost the whole day. So I went to bed that night, and I just realised I know my own body, and I just felt I'm going to be horribly ill and sick tomorrow. And I just had this realisation, and I said to my unconscious, I realised that I have really violated my body here, and I will never violate my body like this again. And I know you probably want to communicate to me how much I violated my body, but I do not need this lesson because I have truly learned it and I will never do it again. And when I woke up the next morning, I felt absolutely amazing, as if I wasn't even drinking. But the thing is, I was completely congruent and I didn't stop drinking. I just reduced my threshold from what was up here down to here. But then a short while after, I just thought, I remember being at a seminar and a guy said, I think it was in 2006, he says, alcohol is a product of total decay. I just went, we're done. And that was it. And he also then said coffee. So then I just gave up coffee right away, and I gave up the alcohol, and I've never had a drink since. And it's effortless for me. And I just feel so much better when you go to bed. You know, you're not waking up the next day and you're trading a bit of your health for this few hours of pleasure, and you wake up the next day completely wiped out. So if there are people in here and they do drink and you still want to drink, and I know a lot of people around me that say, Justin, I just want to go out and I want to get drunk at the weekends. I thought, that's okay. So before you go out, one of the things that's really going to harm you is when you drink alcohol, you're going to be chronically dehydrated. And most people go out chronically dehydrated, then they drink alcohol and become even more dehydrated. So one of the things that if you want to do that is, first of all, never drink alcohol 2 days in a row if you can help it. No, take a day off to give your liver a chance to cleanse itself and get the toxins out of your body. Then another thing is that before you go out, you want to drink at least a pint of water so that your body is adequately hydrated, so that your body then has the alkalinity to get rid of the acidity that alcohol creates within your body. Because people now, you'll hear they've got arthritis or colitis or conjunctivitis or something itis, and itis just means inflammation, and people end up getting horribly inflamed because they're putting horribly acidic things into their bodies. And so when you drink the alcohol, it's very acidic, so when you come home, it's good to drink another pint of water as well. But another thing that will help you immensely is taking something like spirulina or chlorella. And if you take just 10 or 20 of those and just throw them into your body before you go to bed or even before you go out, it's going to alkalize so much of your body and make it so much easier for your body to eliminate and remove that toxic waste from your body.
What is chlorella?
Chlorella is an algae, and it basically, it's really good. Chlorella is magnificent for lifting out heavy metals. It's brilliant for alkalizing. And if there was only two foods that you could eat that you wouldn't need to eat any other food, one of them is chlorella. You could eat chlorella for the rest of your life and you would get all your nutritional needs met with chlorella, and the other one is bee pollen. So when you take that, it really helps alkalize your body, and it's got a full spectrum of vitamins and minerals and stuff like that. It's really, really good. And yeah, you know that green sludge.
That's what it looks like there.
That green sludge you see forming on a pond. And so when you take that, that's going to help neutralize a lot of the acids in your body. Another thing I see, like especially women now, you know, they're getting sent their concerns with breast cancer. Has anybody here ever had a mammogram? Anybody enjoy the experience? Personally, I think mammograms are one of the most dangerous and horrible things a woman could ever do to her body. And if you significantly want to reduce your risk of getting breast cancer, the first thing I would never do is ever get a mammogram. There are incredible safe alternatives called thermography, which are so much more accurate and precise and will give you information way before a mammogram ever could. Another problem about a mammogram is at 40% of the time you could have cancer and it'll tell you you don't, or 40% of the time you might have not cancer and they'll tell you you do have cancer. And then they get the breast in between these plates and they squash it horribly. So if you did have any cancerous cells or tumours, they're liable to burst them and then make that go through your whole body. Another thing that I see that basically significantly increases women are getting breast cancer is wearing underwired bras. One of the things is the underwired bras, you know, they've got the wee bit of metal. Well, imagine those at little small antennas. So if you walk into a room that's got Wi-Fi, you're picking up that Wi-Fi radiation like a little antenna and it's going directly into your breasts. And the other thing as well is that a lot of times you'll think that you get an underwired bra that's got plastic in it. And what you need to be careful is that it's not metal, that's plastic coated. Another thing as well is I know any has heard of Dr. Brian Clement out of Hippocrates Health Institute in Florida.
Yeah.
This guy is really switched on. If anybody that I've heard about got cancer or any serious life-threatening illness and they weren't prepared to listen to me, that's the place I would send them. And they have the highest rate of anywhere in the world of healing people from incurable diseases. And he wrote a book called Killer Clothes. And basically, the clothes that we are wearing are really harming us because, first of all, cotton is one of those crops that uses the highest amount of pesticides you could ever imagine. And so when you get cotton that's not organic, it's absolutely drenched full of chemicals. And you may have to wash it 20 or 30 times to get those chemicals out or to reduce them. And so wearing anything on your body, and I mean I wear clothes that are not organic and I wear things that are coloured, but the thing is I just want you to be aware that the clothes we wear, especially the clothes that touch your skin, if you're wearing bras and stuff like that, they're usually made from petrol-based chemicals and nylon, and that's getting absorbed transdermally, which just means through your skin and into your bloodstream. Another thing, and there's seem to be quite a lot of women in here, but who in here uses chemicals of some kind, even the men on their bodies? Body washes, shampoos, makeups. The average woman has 550 chemicals on her body every day.
Yet we're living longer. That's a bit strange.
Well, I don't know if we are, because what has happened now is this is the first generation in history that the life expectancy is expected to be shorter than the previous generation. And we're getting bombarded by Wi-Fi, we're getting bombarded by all the different lights. We've got people trying to roll out 5G. The Wi-Fi, any has ever been in a big city, you go into a restaurant, you go anywhere, you click on, you go to click Wi-Fi, next thing there's 22 places that you can choose from. Like, we're getting bombarded and we can't see this invisible soup, but that stuff is really harmful and really detrimental to our bodies. Yeah?
In Sweden, when the phones first came out, and with Nokia, the primary schools, they used to coat them in copper to prevent Wi-Fi coming in, and they didn't allow the schools to have proper Wi-Fi, as in they insisted on wires, you know, the old-fashioned way, plugging into your computers, and that was because they realised that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like now, but that was 10, 15 years ago.
The thing is that our phones are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And I remember there was a guy came to see me from Texas a lot of years ago, and he was a biologist, and he had an EMF meter, and it was an iPhone 3 was the leading iPhone then. And I remember getting a phone and pressing the button and making a call, and we measured it, and it was something like 1,000 times above the safety limit. And the thing is, those things are absolutely cooking our brains. And the problem is that people now are giving their children 3 years of age to play on a phone. And like, one of the things about a mobile phone is if you must use a mobile phone, and like, they're a sort of a deadly technology, but you know, they're incredibly useful, and I would find it very difficult not having a mobile phone, and I suppose the rest is would too. But if you must make a call on a mobile phone, always grab the phone maybe about 1.5 inches in, so that you hold it like that, and it's away from your ear, because the closer it is to your brain, the more that's going into your skull. And the problem is, I had a good friend of mine, he was younger than me, and he died because he got a brain tumour right here in the parietal gland, and they basically drilled a hole in his head, looked in and said, there's nothing more we can do for you. They sewed him up and threw him out, pumped him full of drugs, and a very short period of time later he was dead. And so these things are marvellous, but they're also very deadly. So one of the things that I do, and it's easier for women, but is to carry your mobile phone in your bag. Don't carry it, and this is the thing for the guys. Guys, you really want to hear this. See, once you put a mobile phone into your pocket, within 30 seconds, 40% of your sperm is neutered. I'm serious, but you'll see, like, you'll hear people talking about fertility rates are plummeting. Like, I don't know, but is nature like finding a way to like rid the disease and scourge that humans have put upon the planet? To me, we're living in this incredible world and we have the technology, but the problem is that there's so many people controlling the system that you can't get accurate, trustworthy information. And I remember doing research, and like at times I used to look at websites, and it could have taken me 2 to 3 hours to figure out that a website was run by criminals. And see now, I can usually look at a website and it takes me about 30 seconds to figure out, because they use certain language, they use certain terminology, and they just spin things a certain way. But the leading organisation for giving you dietary information in the world is the American Dietetic Association. And they would come across that they are an incredibly reputable organisation, and they're in so many universities throughout the world giving people nutritional information on what to do. And so I started digging, and all of a sudden aspartame E951 is safe according to them. I don't know if you know what aspartame is, but it's 180 times.
Coke and stuff.
It's in Coke. Anything that says diet on it, just take off the word tea and it'll give you a good
Sugar,
Yeah.
really, is that what it is?
It's 180 times sweeter than sugar. And it was used as a chemical warfare agent, and then they realised it's incredibly sweet. But it's linked to over 90 side effects, including seizures and tumours and cancers, and it's a horrible, like, you'll get people that will drink a Diet Coke and eat a jam donut, but if you don't have the Diet Coke, they won't drink it. And the reason why they won't drink it is because aspartame is highly addictive, and once you start eating that stuff or consuming that stuff, you can't get off it, and it's really poisonous. So the American Dietetic Association are promoting aspartame, saying it's safe, and there's the studies show this, that, and the other. So you start to dig a bit deeper and a bit deeper and a bit deeper. So who funds or who sponsors the American Dietetic Association?